What's up, guys, and welcome back to Pokemon TCG HQ. So this is Alex bringing you round 2 of the League Cup that took place in Athena Games in Norwich on the 7th of October. So round 2 we have Adam Hawkins playing Drampa Garbodor against Archie Somner playing Golisopod Garbodor. So we're definitely in for an interesting match here. So like I said, it's always going to be the first time I'm watching it as well. So hopefully you guys enjoy. We'll go straight into it. Thanks. So we do have Adam on the left here and Archie on the right hand side. So I do believe that Archie did grab an extra mulligan off Adam at the beginning of the game. So Adam is starting, so he does attach a Psychic Energy to the Drampa GX and benches a Trubbish. So generally this matchup, it's normally seen that Golisopod does have a slightly better matchup because it's using things like just being a one energy attacker. It has access to Acerola and Guzma. It has loads of multiple ways of being able to attack the options that it wants to, and sort of heal when it needs to. So with Drampa Garb, Adam actually is looking to use his Potown to make sure that when Archie evolves, it puts the free damage on. Puts it in range of a one-hit KO with a Berserk attack using with a Choice Band and free energy active. And as long as there's damage evolved from his own Garbodors on the bench, that's what he's looking to do. So Adam's pass just after the end. Archie has just played a Tapu Lele for a Budget, getting down those Wimpods. I believe that looks like a Floatstone. Oh, he does have a Rainbow Energy in hand. He does go for the actual Acid Spray. Putting himself in a really good position, actually hitting heads, which discards an energy if you flip a coin and do hit heads, discarding the Psychic Energy that Adam had attached to the Drampa GX, so setting himself one turn backwards. So we do see Adam here retaliating with a Bridget of his own, likely to get on grab. I'm assuming he is playing a 1/1 Beyond GX line as well, so that's also an option. But if that's not available as access to him, he will go for sort of Drampa and a couple of more Trubbish, which yes, as he does. So in his sort of game here, he doesn't necessarily need the Garbotoxin Garbodor. It's useful just sort of to slow down Archie. But he's mainly looking to go for the Trash Lance, and hopefully Archie has to use a lot more items to actually process. So Adam does find a Potown, does have a Psychic Energy, and does Righteous Edge that Rainbow Energy off that active Trubbish. Archie did just evolve under with Potown active, although he did have a Field Blow, so it might be a small misplay on his part. He does have that Floatstone on the active Trubbish as well, and I think he did play a Sycamore. He does have the free retreat for the first oppression attack, which does 30 plus 90 if this Pokemon was on the bench and promoted to the active position. But before he attacks, he does just Ultra Ball, discarding a Rainbow Energy and just grabbing another Golisopod before Adam gets another Potown out, so that Golisopod won't actually get the damage on it and actually be in range of a 1-hit KO. So we see Adam here, he's really going to be looking for that DCE, which he has in hand, and he's looking for another Choice Band, just so he can get this 1-hit KO. That'll be really big, sort of puts him ahead on prizes, sort of putting that early pressure on Archie. Sort of as I mentioned, Archie's wouldn't be in a terrible position because Adam wouldn't be able to attach another energy to his bench, Drampa for example, and start setting up the next KO. So even if this Golisopod goes down, Archie could sort of Ultra Ball for a Garbotoxin Garbodor, and then potentially sort of take out and knock out this active Drampa, and then sort of progress from there. But it looks like Adam's actually missed. So he's hit the Garbodor and the Potown for the free damage on his Garbodor, so he does have the damage for his Berserk. But it doesn't look like he has the Choice Band, which means that this Golisopod looks like it's going to survive and actually take a hit. Now, if Archie has a Acerola in hand, it sort of completely negates Adam's attack, Adam's whole turn essentially, And he would be left with a Grass Energy in hand that he can attach to his bench Golisopod. He'd bench his Wimpod back down again and actually take the KO on this free energy Drampa GX that Adam has active. So we do see here Archie does go for the DCE choice band on his Tapu Koko. So it didn't look like he had an Acerola, and he does play a Sycamore. Because that Drampa has 130 damage on already, with that choice band and DC, Archie's gone for a really smart play here, dealing 50 damage to the active GX Pokemon with the Tapu Koko, and start setting up damage on the board. I guess it's more important mainly for that Drampa that's actually on Adam's bench. He may potentially need to go for another Koko spread, but it does look like Adam's here is going for a Righteous Edge, knocking that DC off the Tapu Koko that Archie has active currently. But if Archie's able to get another spread off, it means it's starting to put Drampa in range of an attack like Armor Press or potentially Crossing Cut GX from the Golisopod GX, and it's sort of really putting a lot of pressure on Adam. As you see here, Adam has gone for the Righteous Edge, putting 20 damage on that Tapu Koko, but more importantly, removing that DC from that active Pokemon. So here we go, there's the Acerola play. He has healed that 180 damage off that Golisopod, attached the Grass Energy to his other bench Golisopod. He does have that free retreat Tapu Koko, so it just means he can start applying that pressure. He does also save that Float Stone as well, which he can now attach the Trubbish and sort of evolve into that Garbodor with the Rescue Stretcher. So really liking these plays here from Archie. Sort of protecting his bench, protecting his whole field as it were, and now he's applying pressure onto that Drampa again, knowing that Drampa is unable to take the return KO. So Adam here has got a couple of different situations he can, or avenues that he can go for. So knowing that he cannot take the knockout on this Golisopod, is not too sure whether it's the most wise option to actually be able to do that Berserk attack, because if Archie has another more access to Acerola, it sort of negates his attack and turn completely. Alternatively, he can look to sort of knock out things on the bench, but it then gives Archie the option to get once again to actually promote that Golisopod from the bench position and actually deal first impression for 120 again. So it looks like Adam's gone for that Garbodor play. He does have Tapu Lele. I don't think he has any other access to any other supporter, so he does actually just attach to that Trash Lance Garbodor, dealing enough damage of source. He's hitting for weakness as well on that Garbotoxin and taking the KO. So he's gone down to 5 prizes. Not ideal, but it's something sometimes he just has to do. Archie here has gone for the Guzma on that Drampa GX. Going to be taking out a KO and putting himself down to 2 prizes, sort of leaving himself vulnerable. I'm surprised, I guess he didn't want to evolve into that Wimpod into that Golisopod. He did sort of Acerola his previous turn because Potown's out, but knowing he's already taken out all the Garbodor, the Drampa threats on Adam's side of the field, I feel like it's one of the plays that he probably should have done. But that being said, it's, it might not be necessary. It does look like he's played 6 items, so Garbodor looks like it's doing 120 damage with Trash Lance. So Adam here does Tapu Lele, now that Garbotoxin is not on the field. Likely to look for an N to disrupt Archie's turn. He actually does have an N in his hand already. He does play the Choice Band and the DC to the Tapu Lele. Just trying to put that pressure on that Golisopod. So he's setting up those KOs for his Garbodor to actually Trash Lance and take the KO through those means, because in this current state he's ending Archie to 2. Archie would need sort of the perfect cards of DC and Choice Band to actually use Crossing Cut GX and take the 1-hit KO on that Tapu Lele if Adam decides to promote it active. So Adam's here's gone for the end play, which is one of the sort of drawbacks in that Golisopod deck. It doesn't really draw, or doesn't tend to draw too that far into the deck, meaning that there's plenty of sort of cards left in. There's a lot of cards that's unnecessary or not required in the deck, and especially if you get End and then there's Garbotoxin out. particularly if it's your own, which can be quite detrimental. It's where it starts to really apply pressure on yourself. But it looks like Archie has actually top decked the Sycamore. He does have a float stone as well. We'll see what he is able to draw into here. I think this looks like a float stone, another Golisopod. Doesn't look like he's hitting energy, or if it has, it's a DCE. Oh, it is a rainbow energy, but he's worried, I guess, attaching it, putting it onto 170 HP. Because then essentially that might mean that with a Trash Lance and a Choice Band, that Golisopod could go down to a single prize attacker in Garbodor. But Archie feels like he has no other options. He does go for the first impression on the Tapu Lele. See what Adam could do there. He's got another Tapu Lele there. Does search his deck. He grabs the Acerola. So this is where Adam's sort of really looking to try and essentially deny the two prizes that Archie could take. So Acerola is the active Tapu Lele. Brings up the Trash Lance Garbodor. Attaches DC to the bench Tapu Lele. Sort of getting it ready to continue attacking on that potentially Golisopod on the bench. He does attaches the Choice Band to the active just so he can knock it out as well, dealing that 170 damage, which is where Archie's really struggling here, unfortunately. So he does. It's likely he will be able to take this KO, but Archie's ideally trying to take sort of the 2 prize knockout here. So Archie looks like he only has N in hand, so it looks like he's just trying to bench Pokemon so he doesn't have to draw into it. Plays the N to 2. And it's really gone from Archie being in a position where he's sort of in a favourable position, taking 2 knockouts on Drampa GXs, to Adam sort of stabilising his board and able to sort of pressurising Archie into not necessarily being able to take knockouts. So Archie there, knowing he's played enough items already, he's happy to play that heavy ball once again, so maybe just to grab another Pokemon out of his deck so he doesn't have to draw into it. Yeah, it looks like he's just grabbed that Garbotoxin Garbodor just to put into his hand. And he will be taking this knockout on this Garbodor here. Adam looks like, if we just see his hand, looks like a Floatstone, Choice Band, and a Sycamore, so it's sort of as good of a hand as you can get. So cards that you can play down and a Sycamore as well. So here Archie will take the knockout on this Garbodor if he chooses to promote his Golisopod. Does have another N in his hand. So if he attacks, it will bring him down to 1 prize, and therefore if he has to end himself, he has to end himself down to 1. So I think he's working out sort of his turns and what he can do here. But I think he has to go for the knockout, take the prize, and hope he draws into something like a Guzma or anything that can help him. So Adam here, once again, he's gone for the double DC and the Choice Band, so it looks like he's just gone absolutely ham in terms of knocking this Golisopod. And by him using that Tapu Lele to knock out the Golisopod, I'm not too sure Archie has anything he can do to retaliate to take the KO. So even if Archie had a DC, top decks DC, and ends himself into a Choice Band, he puts himself in a position where he's not actually able to do too much, unfortunately. So this is a really sticky situation for Archie now. He does find a Wimpod. It looks like he's going to have to end himself to 1. And with that Tapu Lele dealing so much damage, and if he sort of depends on what Adam may be able to draw out of this end to 1 here. But Archie will be looking for he will need a 2 to 3 more turns just to stabilize himself once again and actually try and take this knockout on this Tapu Lele. There's the Tapu Lele. I guess he's just trying to again check what sort of energy he has available. He has taken the Acerola and then just plays the end for 1. But plays the Tapu Lele down just so that he doesn't have to draw into it once again. Just trying to understand what he's really looking for here. He could top deck the DCE, apply pressure to that Tapu Lele, because that Tapu Lele, unless Adam draws another DCE, won't be able to knock out the bench Tapu Lele, as it were. So he's holding that card in his hand. Maybe he looks like he has a lot of options, a lot of maybe choices they could do. Maybe he can. So for sure he's just working out maybe if he does have DCE, working out whether that return KO could happen. If he had DC, for example, he can't attach it to that Tapu Koko, because that will just go down to that active Tapu Lele. But we'll see what it is. He's just shown Adam what it is. I'm sure I'm interested. I hope you guys are too, because this is really interesting here. Oh, he does have a DCE. So a surprise turn of events. He did shuffle himself, and sort of end himself to a DCE, putting 120 damage on that active Tapu Lele. And now Adam's the one who's going to be feeling the pressure. So Archie here is going to be top decking to try and find a way to take the KO. But here Archie again is in a quite difficult position, because even if he grabbed a Guzma, he'd only be dealing 40 damage to that bench Tapu Lele, which means it's not enough. It's still got 20 HP. He has top decked the heavy ball into the Golisopod. He hasn't applied a free damage onto it. Not sure how relevant it is right now, but maybe the players will catch on to it shortly, unless I'm blind and I'm missing the damage on the Golisopod. So Archie has just energy driven for 40 damage, but Adam does draw another card. He has an Ultra Ball in hand. Ultra Balls away his 2 cards, grabs a Tapu Lele, and plays a Sycamore. In this situation, he really can't miss here. He just needs a Psychic Energy. Yes, he does hit it. Hits it for Trash Launch and takes the knockout. And Archie does have the Guzman next turn, but yeah, it might not be enough, unfortunately. So therefore, there's a riveting game 1, ladies and gentlemen. So very back and forth. Adam was able to take that down through sort of good ends at the right time, able to sort of use more efficient attackers, as it were, taking enough prizes, playing that Acerola with good effect, knowing that Archie couldn't take his last 2 prizes. And we go into game 2. So Archie there, thinking what he must do in terms of trying to level this game up or potentially win this game. It's a fairly long game 1. Like I said, it was back and forth, so both players had opportunities to actually win it. Archie sort of took a bit of a lead. Adam sort of came back. Archie then was with that DC, was able to apply that pressure on Adam again, but Adam was able to clutch it out. So we're in for an interesting game 2. As I said, normally this is slightly favoured to Golisopod, but with Towns putting those Golisopods in the 180 HP range for Drampas, it can be quite difficult. So Archie there looks like he just did draw into 3 full art Tapu Leles. I think all 3 that he plays. So he does have to start a Tapu Lele, and Adam starts with his Tech Espeon EX. So pretty useful against evolution decks, mainly for maybe stage 2 decks, which are really annoying to sort of deal with, especially if they play rare candy. You can sort of miraculous shine them, and then they're not able to re-evolve without using another item, for example. We do see here Archie does, of course, play the second Tapu Lele for the Bridget, going for the same tactics again, grabbing the Tapu Koko and the Wimpod. So he does have the Float Stone, retreats into the Tapu Koko because Tapu Koko has a natural free retreat anyway, and is happy to pass the turn. Outside of having an energy, it's probably as ideal as the card that Archie has. I'm surprised Archie didn't actually attach that Rainbow Energy. It looks like it's in his hand. Sort of multiple thoughts going through your mind. You can sort of top deck another energy, and it looks like he only has a Sycamore in hand. Which means that you may be having to discard 1 energy. But, at this point, still early on, still probably less relevant, as it were. Adam starts his hand with playing Ultra Ball, a Psychic Energy, and a Guzma for the Tapu Lele. Looks like he's going to grab a Bridget as well, which he has played. Going for maybe the same play as he did before, Drampa and 2 Trubbish, yep. which seems really sensible. It's likely he's going to be attaching to that Drampa if he has energy. Yeah, as we do that, and we do have the Potown on turn 1 as well, really applying that pressure to Archie. So Archie here, he does look like he has a Pokemon, a GX Pokemon, so it's either a Tapu Fini or an actual Golisopod. Attaches the Rainbow Energy to the Wimpod. Plays a Sycamore. Sorry, that was a third Tapu Lele. I'm not too sure what I was thinking. He may have drawn into the other energy, like I said already. But he hasn't hit any one of his 2 field blowers to get rid of that Potown. So it looks like he may have to actually evolve under the Potown lock, take the 3 damage onto his Wimpods, which he is just Ultra Balled. It looks like he's going to go for the Golisopod there. Yeah, he's brought it to the active position, or to the front of his deck, as it were. Checking how many items Adam has played, whether he might go for a Trubbish or sort of his own Trash Lunch sort of plays, as it were. If he even plays them. I haven't really seen them come out at all. Or I may have completely just missed it. It is quite late. Had a couple of drinks, and we'll just see how it goes. So there's the Golisopod. So he does take the 4 damage. So it does bring him down to 170 HP now. Bring him in range of that Drampa. So if Archie attacks with the Golisopod, it's dealing 120, but essentially it's activating that Berserk damage. So if Adam's able to again retreat, attach a DCE, and a Choice Band, he's taking this 1-hit KO, and this is again really applying that pressure onto Archie. I'm not too sure what's in Adam's hand. He does have the DCE and a couple of supporters. He did hit the Choice Band, but he missed a Float Stone actually. So if Adam was able to hit the Float Stone, he would have been able to take the KO. However, this player is probably just as good. He does have Drampa's Righteous Edge attack, which is only for 20 damage, but discards a special energy on your opponent's active Pokemon. With the Choice Band doing 50 damage, so that Golisopod's currently got 90 damage on it, leaving 120 left remaining. Sort of putting it in a really good range, I believe. Archie here does have the Field Blower now. So Field Blower is the Choice Band and the Potown. Not too sure what retreating options he may have. I do remember seeing something like an N in his hand as well. So it looks he's really sort of weighing up the options in terms of what he can do. He does Ace a Roller, which is ideal for him. So he just sends up one of his Pokemon with retreat, evolves the other Wimpod, attaches the DCE to the active Tapu Lele, and just energy drives to 60. So that again puts Drampa in range. Drampa's once again also in range of using Berserk to knock out Archie's active Pokemon, but he wants to preserve that Golisopod. So this again seems like a pretty good play. He knows he has a Grass Energy in hand, so he has those options, although he's only got 2 cards left in his hand himself. So Adam's here forced into a sort of an awkward position. So he could go sort of pretty active, attach the DCE and go for another Choice Band that has already been discarded, and take the knockout. Or he could Righteous Edge, sort of removing another DCE from Archie's hand, or sort of field of the board as it were, and allow this Drampa GX to go down. So there we go, we do have a Guzma play from Adam. He does attach the DC to Tapu Lele and deals 40 damage to the Golisopod, which essentially means he's putting it in range. So really interesting, really back and forth between these 2 players. Going for sort of multiple avenues of trying to win this game. For example, Adam sort of prepping those damage on the Golisopods, you know, thinking Archie's unable to sort of back-to-back Ace Roller when he needs to. Sort of could also force those kind of plays, but it doesn't look like Archie's able to sort of take a knockout here, especially as unable to retreat that Golisopod. So he's only able to attach a Grass Energy, use First Impression for 30 damage. So Adam here is in a good position, or in a position where he can try and capitalize. He has just been in. It looks like he's got 3 Psychic Energy in his hand. I'm not too sure what else actually. So looks like a Garbodor and another. Is that another stadium? That's another Potown. It looks like. So Adam's options here. So he could retreat the Tapu Lele. Can't take a knockout with Drampa because he doesn't have the choice band. I'm not too sure if he has the DC either. And Archie currently only still has 170 HP, so there's nothing that can actually knock out Archie's side of the board with one of Adam's Pokemon. So he does get up the Garbotox and Garbodor out. Ooh, maybe not. He's deciding whether he still lets go of that Floatstone. He does go for it in the end, so their abilities are shot off from both sides of the field. Adam attaches the Psychic Energy to the Drampa and just puts another 60 damage on the Golisopod. I guess in Adam's mind is that Archie still needs a DCE and just DCE if he's using Crossing Cut GX. So it's still quite a lot that he requires. And as it were, it potentially means that Tapu Lele could take another hit, tank another hit while he's preparing sort of free manual Psychic Energy attachments to that Drampa, which is pretty unique, something you don't tend to see too much. So Archie does have Ace Roller again, brings up the active, also benched Golisopod with Choice Band, deals 150 and takes the knockout, takes the first 2 prizes of game 2, putting Adam on the back foot here. So Adam here does look like he has another Psychic Energy. The only bad thing with that is that he's had to manually attach that 3 times to that Drampa if he's able to start attacking. But he does attach. He does have Sycamore. He's discarding another Psychic Energy. He's looking for that Choice Band. It doesn't look like he's hit it once again. Quite unfortunate for Adam. I'm assuming he's playing 3 copies, so I don't have access to deck lists. But if we're going on sort of conventional builds of Drampa Garbodor, 3 choice bands seem to be sort of the regular count, as it were. So Adam does evolve into the Garbodor on the bench as well, so putting him down to 90 HP. Benches another Trubbish. Still has 1 bench space for another Pokemon, as it were, or another utility Pokemon. But with Garbodor out, he can't use Tapu Lele. So ability, as it were, he can still use Tapu Lele. He's looking through the items. It looks like Archie's only played 3 items, as it were. So Adam's got a couple of decisions to make here. So he does look like he's going to go for the pressure. Deal that 150, so leaving Golisopod with 30 HP remaining. Archie, does he have the option to... Yes, he does. He does have the DCE there. Does have the Golisopod on the bench as well. Of course, he just Ace Rolled it, which means Crossing Cut will take the knockout because it's dealing 150. That Drampa already has 60 damage on it, which totals 210, which means he's taking the knockout and actually going down to 2 prizes. Once again, we saw this position in game 1 where Adam was able to make a comeback, but this time Adam doesn't really have an attacker that's ready to do anything. So there's a couple of plays that Adam could make here. Does a Floatstone, another Potown. So attaches the Floatstone to the Trubbish. It does look like he has a couple of other options. He does play an N. Just trying to disrupt Archie's hand for a moment. If Adam's able to maybe grab an energy, he could potentially Miraculous Shine and take the knockout on the Golisopod. Problem being is that all Archie would need from his 2 cards plus 1 from drawing is an energy, a grass energy. Whereas Adam is requiring a little bit more. So here he does play the Field Blower, removes the Floatstone and the Choice Band from the bench Golisopod. So he's just having a quick check of the items once again. He's just making sure what there is. Does have DCE in hand. Shuffling his own hand there. Really tense situation where he's won game 1. There's the Drampa. Attaches DCE the Drampa. And he decides to use Big Wheel. Sorry, I did just yawn there. As he's not dealing any significant damage with Righteous Edge to that Tapu Koko, he is just Big Wheeling, taking those 10 cards, setting himself up for the next turn. So it'll be interesting to see what Archie can do. So it does draw, does look like another DCE. So yeah, it attaches a second DCE. He does have Rainbow in hand as well. He does deal 120 damage because of energy that's attached between the two active Pokemon. So Adam here has now 11 cards in his hand. Are any of those 11 cards useful in making a comeback in this game too? That's the real question. That's what we're about to find out. So there is the Choice Band DCE, there's a Sycamore, there's a Trash Garbodor. It looks like a Psychic Energy as well, Ultra Ball, Trubbish. There's the Floatstone Ace attaching to the active. I guess he does need to retreat it. There's no way he can lead the active if he's to have a chance in this game. Evolves the Floatstone Trubbish to Trash and attaches Psychic Energy. Not Psychic Energy. Floatstone to the active Drampa. There's a Psychic Energy. Attaches Psychic Energy to Espeon. And it is actually going for the Miraculous Shine, devolving both the Golisopods, taking one prize from one of the Golisopods because it's devolving into the Wimpod, which then is knocked out because it has 180 damage on it. But this is interesting because with Potan in the active position, that's interesting. With Potan in that position, if he has to evolve again, it puts another 3 damage on. So Tapu Lele itself currently with 1, 2, 3, 4, 80 damage, 5 energy on total between the active, doing 100 damage. He's not able to take the KO. However, because of that Tapu Lele has no damage on it, he's able to just continue attacking, and with only 5 items it looks like he's played in his discard, not expect to be return KO'd before he's able to just use his Golisopod GX on his bench. His first impression, because he has that Tapu Koko to retreat from as well, and just dealing 120 damage to any one of Adam's Pokemon on his board. So there's Adam playing the Tapu Lele. He's Garbodor up, so he can't Wonder Tag. Does attach the DC energy to Tapu Lele, Floatstone, and the Choice Band. So he's dealing 150 damage here. Not quite the KO, but he does it once again. Just use an N just to really slow down Archie's side of the board and hope Archie doesn't draw into anything. Knowing that Tapu Lele is going to be attacked, or return attacked as it were, Adam's going to need a few more cards still. So it does have another Psychic Energy and that Eevee as well. It does retreat the Espeon EX, brings forward the Tapu Lele, so he's now dealing 150 damage, which he has attacked with Energy Drive. So this is turn 1, so time was called. So as it were, so this is turn 1, so Archie is on the clock to take 2 prizes. So it does, he's looking for maybe the Choice Band, not Choice Band, there's 120, 50, he doesn't need Energy Choice Band as it were. So he has missed it, the KO on his active Tapu Lele here from that Sycamore. Does find a Floatstone on his Golisopod. In his current state, it does look like Archie will need to attack this Tapu Lele and potentially, well, essentially he just needs the Guzma next turn. So it looks like he's just burning through his cards. It looks like he's probably just going to bench that just so that he doesn't have to draw into it if he gets N, for example, again. Heavy balls as well for another card. Just to get cards out of his deck, or cards out of his hand. So his one play is to actually just get the Guzma, because that Espeon EX is on the bench. He's going to attack this active Tapu Lele. And that Drampa, of course, is there as well. Not too sure how he's only done 60 damage unless I missed something. But irrelevant because this is turn 2. If Adam is unable to sort of protect himself, maybe N, this could mean that Archie is able to take it down and result this game in a tie. So this is once again a really interesting situation for both players to be in. So Adam hasn't been able to and he has just Sycamored for his whole deck, because obviously there's nothing else he can do. He does field blow every other card that's available, and I think it's now down to Archie whether he has the Guzma. If he has the Guzma, he will win, and he does have a Guzma in hand already, so he is able to take game 2, ladies and gentlemen, and level the round to 1-1 with both players tying this game. Yeah, so game 2 looks like how a normal Golisopod Garbodor versus Drampa Garbodor matchup tends to go. He does sort of go ahead quite early, take those prizes, deal a lot of pressure onto the Drampa Garbodor player, as it were. And, you know, like I said before, it does sort of struggle to draw at certain points, particularly if you have your own Garbotoxin up or your opponent has Garbotoxin up. But he was able to draw out of it. He was able to get the Sycamore when he needed. He also had that Guzma in his hand whilst he was sort of digging through his cards and sort of getting rid of them out of the active position, or out of his hand, as it were, and out of his deck, just so that if he gets end, he has the opportunity, a higher opportunity to draw that Guzma once again. But well played to Archie, well played to Adam as well. Both players won one game apiece, so it is a tie. They both move into round 3 with a 101 record. Yeah, that's it really. If you guys enjoyed, please let me know. If you have any other further comments or questions, anything I might have missed, please let me know. Like I said, I hope you guys really enjoy this as much as I do, if I do. Thanks guys, enjoy, and I'll have the next round up as soon as possible. Peace.